Welcome to Destination Jamaica. It's a beautiful weekday in Jamaica, and we are blessed to be with David Martin, another Jamaican doing phenomenal things, and he has also suffered a stroke, yet he persists. David has been sharing his journey on Facebook, and he has so much to share about his career, his experiences as a multimedia specialist, about his journey after stroke, and so much more. David, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Latoya.
All right, let's get into it. Could you kind of introduce yourself to us?
Well, my official introduction is I'm David Martin, animation evangelist, multimedia specialist, and trainer.
Yes. Okay, great. And so much more, right?
Yes, and so much more. Motivational speaker, you name it.
Yeah. All right.
Content creator, etc.
Yeah. So we've had conversations before, and I see that you're a pretty passionate Jamaican. You have done a lot. You are pretty insightful based on the conversations we've had. And we're going to start with your career, your education, your background as it relates to your career. What inspired you to choose the field that you're in?
Okay, I've always loved animation, like a lot of kids growing up. But when you're growing up as a kid, and when you think about any form of art, you get discouraged because your parents naturally they want you to do something that is not idleness, as they would say, that you can have a good way of making money from or something like that. But basically, I used to draw a lot. I used to be animating and doing flipbook animations from I was very small. So you could say that I was being prepped for it naturally until I got the off chance to teach animation. And then after that, I was immersed into this field that I loved so much. So I just made the most of it and just went for it as far as I could go.
That's awesome. But that was also a non-traditional career path. Back then, a lot of Jamaicans weren't doing animation. It was always like the traditional jobs. What made you choose an unconventional path versus everything else that everyone else was doing?
Well, when I decided to go full on into animation, it was at that time when Jamaica was really experiencing a shift. We had Kingston Festival, one of the first animation festivals in Jamaica happening. And all the schools were, and the government was really opening up to animation as a career. Also, we're in the era of the orange economy or the creative economy. So those themes were being explored. The non-traditional themes were being brought more to the front. But personally, why I did it was there are not a lot of animators in the Caribbean as a whole. Not a lot of people telling our stories. There's a lot of stories being told. And we have a deficit of people telling our stories, our Caribbean stories, our Jamaican stories from animation point of view. So our children are being saturated with the Japanese culture and other cultures, American culture. But our culture is left in the background. Our norms, our values are being left in the background because we haven't grasped or failed to really appreciate and take advantage of this medium. So as an animation evangelist, by the way, one of my main goals was to really reach out to the region, anyone who would listen, and try to train young people to get into this industry, which is a very profitable industry and a very fun industry as well. And it's also very portable because anywhere in the world you can work on an animation. You can be a part of a team, and a lot of people, young people, actually already love drawing, painting, music making, and all of these talents and skills come together can create animated production equal or better to Hollywood if we should really put our foot in it and try.
Yeah, I love that. And you say it was the beginning of the orange economy. What year are we talking about? 2000 and...
Well, we're coming up from, let's say, about from 2011 up, 2011, 2012, coming up. Recent.
Okay.
Recent in the grand scale of things.
Okay. And tell us about some of your projects that you've done so far. I know you've done a lot, but if you could tell us about the top 3 or the most impactful ones, that would be great.
All right, I've worked on a lot of projects. I've collaborated with a lot of people and stuff. I've done I think one of my best projects to date would have been a climate change animation that I did in collaboration with Reach and USAID that spoke about climate change in the Caribbean, because I like advocacy work. I like stuff that teach people stuff and stuff that are active advocacy stuff, activist kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
I also did a project for film festival for the Garifuna people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. These are like the equivalent of our Maroons.
Yeah.
They had a very interesting and compelling story. So I actually did that as a film festival entry for Northern Caribbean University Omega Film Festival. So I've really worked on any massive major project, except those, well, they would have been actually like regular videos that you would watch on different, like infomercial videos. And also I did an animation for the food-based dietary guidelines in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay.
I would say those are the most impactful stuff that impacted a lot of people that I would say I've worked on. In addition to other things that I would have planned, like Guidance Girl magazine, which is really an animated series that's supposed to teach values to kids. And that is to be released once I get some proper sponsors. I've also entered into a MOU with Caribbean Media Corporation to create animated content, animated training content for them as well. So once we get a foot off, you'll definitely see a lot more coming out from School Tunes, which is the name of my studio.
School Tunes?
Right.
Okay.
School Tunes with a Z.
Okay. Definitely will look out for it. Now, we're going to go into something a bit more personal. You recently had a stroke. And if any questions I'm asking, you don't want to answer, that's fine. Just let me know. So if you would like to talk to us about what happened when you had the stroke. Or the day of.
Well, around the time, I was working as usual, working up late. I was told to come to my bed. And of course, me being a workaholic ignored my wife to my detriment. When I did go to bed, I fell off the bed and couldn't get up, and she recognized quickly that I was having a stroke. So she did her emergency measures because she was actually a nursing student at one point.
Okay.
So after that, ended up in the hospital on my back in bed, paralyzed on my left side. But as usual, my brain was working same way. Because I was just worried about my projects that I had outstanding and what wasn't happening for them. So, but basically, for the past year, I've been in physiotherapy, rehabilitating, and as you said before, I've chronicled my journey on Facebook, the videos that the physiotherapists, a lot of things, so that other people can see what I went through in a sense and get some sort of inspiration from it.
Yeah.
But the story is way more complex than we can sit and talk about through here.
Yeah, I understand. You said to me when we were having a conversation before that there were some some signs that you ignored. Would you like to expand on that?
All right. First of all, I want to say health is wealth. And sometimes in the endless pursuit of substance, we kind of neglect our main wealth, which is our health. So I was experiencing symptoms like numbness and all of those kind of stuff. I was stressed out, fatigued a lot. But I did not expect, I had high blood pressure. But funny enough, most of those things, stress related, did not lead to my stroke. My stroke was really because of my bad heart valve that turned my heart essentially into a factory for blood clots, right? So it was inevitable that one day I would have gotten a stroke, but this went undiagnosed until I went to the neurologist and he said, oh, well, you need a cardiologist because there's nothing I can do for you. Your blood clot in your brain is going to heal eventually. As a matter of fact, it's probably gone already. But basically, it's your heart that's the problem, and you had rheumatic heart disease. So I was searching back my files to figure out when did I ever have a heart problem as a child. My parents couldn't tell me, no one could tell me. All I knew that I had like an irregular heartbeat and a murmur that eventually would turn into this complaint. But pretty much the red flags are always there. Your health deteriorating and you're working, cause you to ignore a lot of stuff. Ignore exercise, healthy diets, etc. Sleep late. A lot of us animators have this big belly because of inactivity. So all these things, if it's not a stroke, it will lead to something else. So we have to be very careful as people who sit around computers for a long period, especially like now, I have a thing called osteoporosis in my neck because of the constant doing like this. And a lot of what it does too is cause my disc is worn out, so it caused a lot of issues with my body. That was one of the distracting things because I thought it was that was acting up. Because it would make my hand numb. It would give me all sorts of different symptoms. And I would think it was something else. So, you know, when you know that you have this particular condition, you say, oh, probably it's just that. Yeah, man. So, and that has been happening a lot to a lot of my peers, a lot of young people as well, where this arthritic thing is, it presses on your nerves. So it really messes with your whole body nervous system and your spine, etc. So we really have to, as media people, take care of our health because we feel like as media people, we have to work 10 times more than everybody. And we really only have 24 hours in a day. And we need to appreciate that.
Definitely. And that's something like take breaks, you know, do your different stretches and exercises.
Right. Take your stretches, take your breaks, eat healthy.
Get proper rest.
Your 1,000-yard steer. Look away from your machine for hours. Exercise your wrists, those kind of stuff. There's a lot of simple things that we can do to improve or reverse some of the things that are happening to us or prevent them from getting worse. But we just need to say this, you know, this can happen tomorrow. Because I found that it doesn't matter how big the project is. 10, 20 minutes of rest can make a difference.
Yeah, for real. But that's the thing, David. I don't think a lot of us realize how we can do simple things to help our health every day. We think so we have to go to the gym, or we have to like do a full revamp of our diets, or we have to follow some trending diet that costs a lot of money. But you basically just provided some really impactful info by just, you know, using simple everyday things that could help us. So that's something to note, viewers. You don't have to worry about if you don't have the money for go a no gym or anything of the sort. Just do your stretches, take a break, listen to your body, and get your rest.
Yes, and if there's anything that I've learned from a year of physiotherapy is small gains mean a lot. I mean, it took me about 4 weeks just to move my thumb a couple of millimeters, right? But now I can move my thumb. Hello. I can open up my hands properly, you know? Couldn't do this before, right? Couldn't stretch out my hand like this before. So the left hand is what is the main focus now to get it stronger. All of my shoulder, my left shoulder had atrophied because of the long, prolonged bed rest from the hospital to home.
Mm-hmm.
And the muscle is back now. Simple exercises over time.
Mm-hmm.
Just moving around, simple exercises.
Mm-hmm.
Walking up a hill, walking around in your house, doing step counting, etc. Good for your heart, all of those things. So we don't have to go gym and lifting some big weights because society make we feel like, oh, when you need to get healthy, you have to go gym, go do this rigorous thing. Or you have to do a crash diet, which in fact, most of those things are actually bad for you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fad diets, and one of the things I'm learning about human nature is this. If you have a pill and you could tell a person that they can't take a pill and you're not be muscular overnight, they would take the pill.
Yeah.
And it has fooled a lot of people into thinking that some things are just snap things. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
Work for it and it's more sustainable.
Okay. Great info. All right. So I know you're a man of opinions based on your Facebook. You post a lot of great opinions there. So we're gonna shift the conversation. Unless you have anything else to say before we shift the conversation to Jamaica. Anything else you want to say before we move on to the next section?
Oh, we can go.
Okay, great. So what are our greatest strengths and weaknesses as Jamaicans? You can probably give us two or one.
All right. Our greatest strength as Jamaicans is the fact that we have this mentality that one, we are better than everybody else in the world, and we can do anything that we put our minds to.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of our greatest strengths. It is also one of our greatest weakness as well.
Okay. You want to expand on that?
All right. This overconfidence that we have, we tend to alienate other people or negate experience of others. So because, let's say, for argument's sake, Usain is the best runner in the world. We'll be clapping for Usain, but we are not looking at anybody else. We are like, it's our hero or nobody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the same vein, Jamaicans have some very bad habits. It's as if nobody else has anything else to offer other than we ourselves, or nobody has anything. You know, and some people feel that them alone have sense.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole big world out there with different cultures, which we would do well to benefit from if we explored these different cultures, especially in the context that a lot of people are interested in knowing about us, but it doesn't seem like Jamaicans are interested in knowing much about anybody else. So they will see like stuff and say, oh, that's their culture, oh, them fooling or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or them would have never do this. And then we don't try to seek to understand other people or empathize with other people.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Okay.
love when people say like, oh, Jamaican have the baddest gangsters and so forth. But I want to get to a place where they say, oh, Jamaican scientists are the best in the world. You understand? Stuff like that.
Yeah. A lot of us are not aware of the other parts of Jamaica. Like, which brings me to the next question. Who do you think we should add to as national heroes or heroine? Or other than the seven that we have?
Well, sorry for saying well on your video. Now the hero her heroine thing is very ticklish for me. And everybody always have these big debates as to who should get what.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally believe that if you want, actual heroes should come from actual living people that we see every day.
Okay.
We need to elevate the people who are doing good jobs, the policemen who are doing good jobs, the teachers who are doing good jobs, the students who's doing a good job. You know, like I think there was a point when some guys they dived into the rear cobra to save a lady's life one time.
Mm-hmm.
Some students, young guys.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this one where this guy saw a little baby floating past in a Canada and he dived in it, a risk to himself and he rescued the child, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think those people should be elevated. People that advocate for others. they should be getting statues, monuments, etc. Not just wait until you're dead and say, oh, him do one holy for some people, because usually the little things that we do every day is impactful. And if everybody have a shot to know that, yes, I can be recognized. Sometimes all we need is a little recognition for us to do more things, to be, as I say, motivation, strength, labor, or something like encouragement, strength, and labor.
Yeah.
People will be more likely to push out and do things. And not only that, people will be more likely to uphold their images. Because a lot of people that we elevate in our society today, yes, they did some good today, and then them drop tomorrow, and then eventually you find out they're in some sort of scandal or something. And I said, no, the brother, they went do this, or did do that, or did come out with this thing, or did do that. So because they are elevated one day and dropped the next, forgotten the next day, it's as if that little motivation or encouragement just leave them and they don't feel like they must do anything else. Also, we have this mentality that if we're not getting paid for stuff, we shouldn't be doing stuff, which is one of our weaknesses as well. If no money is in it for you, we shouldn't do it. You understand? And that would serve us well to look at other cultures. There are other cultures out there that volunteerism is key, and they can literally move mountains because they have that culture that everybody pushing together can achieve great things. We just want we one run go do it for we one get the credit. And if we don't get the credit, we say, oh, everybody bad mind and ungrateful. You understand?
Yeah. Dropping some gems. That's true. And for us to get to, for Jamaica to become, sorry, for Jamaica to become the country that we vision it to be, we all have to play our parts. We have some of the most beautiful words in our anthems and, motto and so forth. But I don't think we truly carry them out in some aspects. We're not truly united.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Every time I say my pledge, I am very, very encouraged, and I feel a swelling inside of me when I say my pledge, especially when I go out to different countries and do things. And I say my pledge, and I was like, this is what I am here for as a Jamaican, to make the world a better place.
Yes.
To kickstart this civilization. Every civilization started with something or some event and just kept sustainably growing. We don't think like that. We think too temporary. We think like, oh, and I don't know when did this temporary thing, because before, when they built a road, people built roads to last. When they built a house, they built it to last. Anything that was done before in the past, craftsmanship, artwork, everything was done to last like forever. Like those people had visions to say, next 100 years, I want this thing to be up and my people, my descendants to be enjoying it. We just slap that stuff. The quicker we can do a thing, the better. And that has often retarded even the feel of animation as well. Because students are enthusiastic about the animation thing. But the moment when they see that there's a lot of work involved, they kind of start to draw away for easier things.
But how are we going to excel and create the society we want to create if we keep drawing away from the hard stuff and being reactive, I think one of the main problems I have with our people, love them no matter what, but we're not pretty proactive.
Right.
And we can have a whole conversation, but we can have it the next time.
Right.
So the other question, do you have anything else to say before we move on to the other question?
No, not really. That's it.
All right. And in the spirit of proactiveness, David, you're doing a lot, and you're also dealing with, life after your stroke. How can people support you, whatever you're doing, and help you with income? Because we know that it can be pretty difficult to work when you're struggling with the effects of a stroke.
Well, for me, I mean, one thing the stroke has taught me is not to be selfish. That's one thing. And I'm not saying this because on some modesty trip or anything like that. Yes, we do need to live, but I have projects out there, proposal, great ideas that will benefit not only our country, but children everywhere. Because once I hit an idea, I try to see how far and wide I can get it so that everywhere people can benefit. Doesn't matter what country, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have projects that need funding. And of course, you will have my link in the bio of such our stuff that you will edit and add to this video, right?
Yes.
So that will be I'll give you my contact. And I have different, because I've gone into mobile gaming as a way to teach kids. I have workshops to teach teachers how to teach kids using simple mobile games that they can build at home from the computers they have. They don't have to hire no big software engineer. But because I'm a learning technologist as well, so creating educational content is one of my forte. Assessments are my forte, etc. So I have found out that, especially in these times where kids' grades have been, especially during COVID, where kids' grades have been so ridiculously bad across all sectors, I found a way now to turn what they love to do, the game and all of those things, the hours on the phone, into something meaningful that they can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
So these are things that I have a passion for. These are projects that are good return on investment in terms of getting your people's brands out there, etc. Good projects, community-based projects. I do motivational speaking every now and then. I guess my motivational speaking is going to be a little bit different now with the stroke.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, before I used to go out and encourage kids to be their best selves.
Mm-hmm.
So things like that, little things like that,
Mm-hmm.
different movements we can start by igniting a fire under our youth, because the youth, they always say the young people are the key, but we keep letting the key get rusty,
Yeah.
and we just let them just blow out of our hands and miss a lot of opportunities because they're not going to be young for very long,
Yeah.
You see, when they are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and
Mm-hmm.
very motivated to do anything at all, we need to take advantage of those years, because there's going to time when the bored teenager is going to come in and they cannot get them to do a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need to keep them moving and have them motivated and keep moving so that we can make use of our youth. Because there are a lot of young people out there. It's not, a lot of them is not no money problems that they have why they do stuff. It's just boredom.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them don't have a money problem. And we don't judge our youth. We tend to think that all of them are delinquent, but they're not. There are a
Yeah.
lot of young people who genuinely want to be a part of something great, but nothing great is out there for them to be a part of. Because every system that we have that can offer greatness has some black dirt, sorry, not bad choice of words, have some corrupt side to it where I say, oh, I wish I could be like this person or fireman, but then you go hear that, oh, this big scandal at the fire station or the police station.
Mm-hmm.
So everything kind of discouraged our youth from getting into it. As I said, we talked about heroes before. We could encourage, or should be encouraging and giving our youth opportunities to become heroes. Let them work on projects that send a balloon to the edge of space or a cell phone to the edge of space or something. Let them solve that problem. Build some robots we can go from here to Cuba or from here to Cayman. I mean, stuff like that. Give them some opportunity to be heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Design something, enter some design challenges or the other. Come up with one new way to build house to homeless people. All of those things. Instead of just poster competitions and all of that.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, man, I have a real passion for young people and wasted youth, because
Yeah.
if I didn't get growing up, I did not have a lot of opportunities. Well, we didn't have internet and all of those things. We had library. And what we read in those old books in the library was enough to get me sparked to being great. You can imagine now with way much more information. I always tell my students that if I had just 1% of the internet at my age, I'd probably be a bit trillionaire by now.
Yeah.
But if I only had 1%, because information is power. Just somebody telling you how to get to somewhere from step 1, step 2, step 3, do this, do that,
Yeah.
makes such a difference. But our adults are not interested in doing that. We also have this pay your dues mentality where you see young people coming up, but you're going to discourage them because they haven't paid their dues to the older heads that were there. They're doing things differently from the older heads.
Yeah.
So when they are supposed to be new and fresh and different.
Mm.
So I'm not into this whole pay your dues, respect the older heads. Respect the older heads, yes. But I'm not into this. Don't do things because you're going to offend a older head or something like that.
Yeah. All right, so thank you so much for sharing that, David. Viewers, watchers, you've heard him speak, and you can check the description below to support him. Together, we can do anything, guys. And this is one person, David Martin, that you need to support because he's definitely someone who has and will continue to have great impact on the youth in Jamaica in the field of animation and more. Which patty is best? Juicy?
Spicy nice. Yeah,
Or
man. Spicy nice, patty miss nam, spicy nice.
nobody knows spicy nice.
Not yet, but them going to know, them are going to ask about it now.
Tell me about spice nice. What's so good about it?
Spicy nice have real beef in it. And all my cousins work there.
That's why.
And they have really good patties and pastries in Brownstown. So even when tourists are passing, they stop because tourists always pass to go to 9 Miles and so forth. So they stop and get patties there.
All right, we have to try it then. And then
Definitely.
But
And then that will end the whole tasty versus juicy debate once and for all.
But yeah, leave out mothers. Mothers not in it, not at all.
Why I will not say anything about mothers lest they sue me.
That's true, that's true. All right. So David, tell us what is like growing up in St. Anne. I know I never mentioned the parish that you're from and so forth, but give us a little bit about what's like growing up in that area.
All right, so St. Anne is one of those great parishes. Everybody think their parish great. Naturally, I think St. Anne is the greatest. It's a garden parish. Which other parish can boast that you need a visa to go to one of their towns, which is Ocherius. Yes, people, Ocherius is in St. Anne.
Okay.
It's a great parish, has a lot to offer. A lot of heroes come from St. Anne. Harry Belafonte, Bob Marley, Marcus Garvey. IRFM is from St. Anne. Well, first reggae, really serious reggae station in the world. So St. Anne boasts a whole heap of stuff. And I think it was where Columbus had his first settlement. Even though we're not celebrating Columbus, but I mean, St. Anne must have been somewhere. That was where the Amerindians had actually spotted the 3 ships coming. It was in St. Anne.
Oh, okay. You know a lot about Jamaica. It's pretty good.
Too much.
Too much. What were you like as a kid?
Pretty much same as now. I was a history buff. My friend used to stop me on campus and ask me history questions at high school. And I was on school challenge quiz one time. But that's that reason, the history. I was the history man on the team. We never did too well, but it was a good experience.
Okay. So we can find some footage of you back in the day then.
Oh boy.
All right, so we're coming down to the end of the interview. Anybody you want to big up before we ask the last few questions? Anybody you want to big up or any company or so?
Well, since the company never really pay me for this sponsorship, yeah. Well, yeah, next time we have a follow-up part 2 in question and then can plug in. How many viewers and so you have, we can tell them. But I really want to big up my wife, my daughter,
yes,
my family, father, my mom, They have been rocks for me, foundational rocks. My physiotherapist, definitely. Everybody that has been personally, indirectly or indirectly associated with me during the stroke, even even visitors, I want to big them up because everybody really pushed out for me. I could tell you some things that are miraculous that happened during the stroke period. They say if you want to know your friends, lie by the roadside and see who come. And I mean, the line by the roadside, however, a lot of friends came out of the woodwork. People that I didn't know that they were friends. They were supporting, you know? And I tell you, whole prayer thing, being involved in my prayer groups, psychosocial support. I mean, all of those people that supported me with prayers. People always say thoughts and prayers don't mean anything, but I mean, they do. They really do. Whatever your beliefs are or not, they really do move mountains. So when I pick up all of those people who set up GoFundMe for who have supported me over the time, people who send a little change for me get gas for go doctor, who send me a little change for one more week of physiotherapy, or for me to get grocery in the house, people like that. I mean, I am very, very grateful and I want to big up everybody. I don't have, and the thing is, I do have a list of names, but I can't call everybody name as I'm gonna feel left out.
Yeah.
But there are people that I can really call their names, but I can't, in a social setting like this.
Yeah.
But I just want them to know that I know and I appreciate. There are people who anonymously have helped as well, and I know and I appreciate. So all of those people too.
Yeah, big up to all our no. We don't know, no, but as David said, it's so touching to hear that so many people were there for you, even those who you didn't were not on the forefront and so forth. Jamaicans and humans can be pretty amazing. All right, so we have a couple more questions to go, David. What makes you proud to be a Jamaican?
Wow, that is a tough question. Because it's tough because I'm not a nationalist. I'm not like a patriot or anything like that. I don't think I'm special because of this country that I'm born in. I don't think it adds anything in particular to me. I don't think I have anything in my DNA that, the Jamaican gene or fly around in my DNA or anything like that. I have not been a nationalist, and probably that is what makes me proud to be a Jamaican. It's uncontradictive, but the fact that we as Jamaicans can live anywhere in the world, adapt anywhere in the world. And if you trace our bloodlines, we are an amalgamation of a whole heap of different cultures and peoples. And we can adapt. If you go China, a Jamaican is a Jamaican. If you go Antarctica, a Jamaican is a Jamaican. If you go anywhere, if you go to Mars, a Jamaican will be a Jamaican. As a matter of fact, we have a cartoon series that we want to push on Mars. So that's a plug right there. Jamaicans in Mars. So that's why I'm proud, because as a Jamaican, I am like a key that fits into any lock anywhere in the world, and I can go and I can bloom anywhere I am planted because of this mentality. It's not something that I was grown up in here or I was entreated in here. It's just observation that if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Okay. And I really like your answer. Thanks. No, if you were the interviewer, what question would you ask yourself, that I haven't asked you?
Wow, that's a tough one. The time might run out by the time I figure that out.
All right, you want to move on
How
to
did I make it through the stroke thing?
Yes.
All right, so My faith played a huge part in me making it through this, my belief in God. I don't have an indomitable spirit, so I know that it had to be something outside of me that made me make it through. But one thing always, whenever, even when I'm doing my physiotherapy and I have to endure the shocks, the exercise, the pain, a lot of pain. One thing I've always kept in mind was, if you can win the battle in the mind, you can win the battle anywhere. Once you conquer your mind, you can do anything. And that is the question I would ask myself. And that is what I would want to pass on to anybody listening. The battle in the mind is the most important one. And I have seen other people with strokes, they have not rehabilitated because they lost the battle in their mind. They gave up. They didn't leave their beds. Some of them are probably still in their beds right now. Some gave up and died, right? Because they just saw life as ended. But as long as you're breathing, life is there. I say, well, why no dead no dash away? That is one of our sayings. So win the battle in your mind first. And once you win the battle in your mind, if you can conquer your mind, conquer yourself, you can pretty much do anything.
Okay. I was gonna ask you if there's anything that you want to, any messages you want to share for those who are listening, but I think you said it, unless there's anything additional you want to leave with viewers.
Well, the only message I would like to share at this time is that don't give up, no matter what. Life is rough, but don't give up. Keep going. In a storm, when you go through it, it will be better. You don't stop in the middle of a storm. You go through it. So don't ever give up, no matter what. Life will throw its inconveniences at you, and I mean, you will want to give up. Don't look at anybody else who is more fortunate or unfortunate than you. You are your own person. You just do things so that you, at the end of the day, will triumph. So don't say, oh, me grateful for this because people out there are worse. Yes, people out there might be worse than you, but you are you. You do things for you because you want to complete an objective. So you just go through and do what you need to do. And everything will be all right. Because once you're moving, you're living, you're moving forward, you're gonna grow, you're gonna learn. And we don't lose. We either win or we learn. We don't lose. So that's it. That's all I would want to say.
Yeah, thank you for that. And the last question, where do you see yourself in 10 years or even 1 year?
Well, funny enough, most of my dreams had come true by the time I was 20 years old in terms of where I'd wanted to be. So I never really had a future mapped out. So since 20 years old, I was really living on the gravy side of life. Mind you, I'm not talking about money or all of that, but I was contented at 20 years old because looking back before, there's a lot of things that I had achieved that I was really proud of myself for. And it goes back to you counting your blessings because sometimes we give up or we say nothing now go on for we. But when in truth and in fact, if we should just look back, we realize that a lot has gone for us. So right now, I don't even have New Year's resolution because last year, this time in January, I made my New Year's resolutions. And then I end up with a stroke. So,
yeah.
Oh yes, and my sense of humor got me through as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I can get up every morning alive, in the company of family, people who I love, knowing that everybody around me is okay, I will be okay. I am glad for that. Every day is a new blessing, new challenges, new opportunities. And I know that if I survive yesterday, I can survive today and tomorrow and probably next week. So I am just living off gravy right now, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just seeing what each day brings, being patient. Not a very patient person, but I'm learning as well to be more patient with myself, with people, and just watch things work out themselves.
Okay. And brought a question. Any vision or what would you like to see for animation in Jamaica in the future?
Well, that's a question that everybody usually ask. I want people to take animation more seriously. We consume a lot of it, but we don't take it serious. I want the teaching of animation to be taken seriously. I want the people involved in animation. There are very few people that are really serious about it. I mean, you have like Jan, which is Jamaica Animation Network, with some pretty serious people in there. Some of my good friends in there, Kevin Jackson. Big up Kevin. Because I know so I got probably interview Kevin at some point.
Yeah.
But basically, these are people that took a step out seriously when everybody was talking and they went out and did things. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I want us to take it more seriously. I want us to tell our stories. I want people not to just wait on people to hand them a big grant or whatever. Just start with what they have and just start doing stuff. Not get discouraged. Stick to it until it comes out. Because I mean, we have a lot of talented artists in Jamaica, illustrators, you name it. If we should really teamwork with the people who love animation, we can be Hollywood. So with that being said, just take it more seriously. I want corporate Jamaica to take it more serious. Don't run go foreign every time you need an animation. Because the excuse is that there's no quality in Jamaica. There's no quality in Jamaica because we aren't given the opportunities to really crack out of our shells and challenge new stuff. Trinidad has a good animation industry because their business interests support animation, use animation on a day-to-day.
Mm-hmm.
So by virtue of that, we are to take up the same thing. Push out, challenge people, do whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Put the money where the mouth is. There's a lot of lip service always being paid to animation, but not a lot done. And I'm not even going to bring the government into this because government will government. So I'm talking about the people who actually can benefit and have the funds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about people that always saying, even diaspora, I'm going to hit the diaspora hard now. A lot of diaspora people always say Jamaica is this and Jamaica is that, but they would never invest here. They say, oh, Chinese are take over Jamaica or this race are take over Jamaica, but they would never buy a square of land to build a house on here.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? They say, oh, these businesses and so forth, but they would never set up a business out here. So we are to put our money where our mouths are. You have the benefits of first world country, first world learning, first world ways of doing things. If it's him to come and advise some young people, say, well, let me set up a company and this is how we did it over there. So this is how you can get funding to do this, or, even stuff like that. Just simple advice would make a huge difference. Because one of my goals really is to set up like a real animation school, like an art school that, like a charter school for animation, strictly animation. Because STEM and animation, that is STEAM actually. So I would do a STEAM school out here.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that is what I would do.
That sounds great. And I'm hoping that comes true. Thank you so much, David, for joining us and for sharing with us. It was
It was a
awesome.
pleasure.
Yes. And thank you all viewers for watching. Remember to subscribe, share, and also support David on his journey. Bless up always.